With all due respect, Ms. Mitchell, and I mean that sincerely, with all due respect for you and your position as the elected district attorney for Anderson County, I would expect for you to have more personal knowledge of the trial record and of these facts, very basic facts, I might add, that we're asking you today. I would have definitely expected you to have those in advance of requesting an execution date to be set. And certainly would have expected you to have that information in advance of this committee hearing.
What you just heard was an excerpt from the Texas Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence hearing held yesterday, October 16th. The person speaking was Representative Leach, addressing Allison Mitchell, the elected district attorney of Anderson County, Texas. Robert Roberson is currently on death row in Texas. He was scheduled to be executed tonight, Thursday, October 17th at 6 p.m. for a crime that he did not commit. In a last-minute decision, a Travis County judge delayed the execution until Roberson can testify next week. District Attorney Mitchell was the very person who pushed through the execution warrant for Roberson just a few months ago, despite the fact that the science used to convict him, shaken baby syndrome, has since been debunked as junk science. Texas law is clear. In the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, Article 11.03, which states, a court may grant a convicted person relief on an application for a writ of habeas corpus if 1. The convicted person files an application in the manner provided by Article 11.07, 11.071, 11.072, containing specific facts indicating that A. relevant scientific evidence is currently available and was not available at the time of the convicted person's trial because the evidence was not ascertainable through the exercise or reasonable diligence by the convicted person before the date of or during the convicted person's trial. Roberson's attorney filed for a writ asking for a habeas hearing, which took place in 2022 at the Anderson County District Attorney's Office under the oversight of DA Allison Mitchell. DA Mitchell is no stranger to misconduct. One glaring example is her office's attempt to file charges against Paul Barksdale, a young black man who did not commit any crime. This was a case that I personally worked when I was a major crimes detective at Palestine Police Department and in Anderson County. And you can hear the full story in episode 1 of the Failing Justice podcast titled A Wrongful Indictment. We will be posting the full Texas Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence hearing on our website later. But here are some key excerpts. In these clips, you'll hear District Attorney Allison Mitchell, who claims she reviewed the evidence in Robert's case, was confident enough to push through his execution warrant, struggling to recall basic facts. Mitchell said she did not know or could not remember over 30 times during the hearing. What follows is a 5-minute segment that is incredibly frustrating to listen to.
Which witnesses testified about shaking as the cause of Nikki's condition?
I'd have to refer back to the original trial transcript to be fully accurate with you.
Okay.
To be perfectly honest with you, I'd have to refer back to what her actual testimony was, and I don't have that in front of me.
Okay.
I really would, truly, to be fully accurate and honest with the committee, I'd have to refer back. Again, I apologize. I have to go back and refer to the original, to the transcript itself. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I do not know the answer to that question.
Dr. Downs is the expert that you relied on to state that Nikki did not have pneumonia.
That among other things, yes, sir.
Okay, and is Dr. Downs a lung expert or a lung pathologist?
He is. Let me see here, and I can answer that question. He has a lot of titles behind his name.
Their CVs all seem to be very long.
I mean, I know that he is I can't find it off the top of my head, but I know he's a forensic let's see here. I don't want to lead you the wrong way. I just know he's an expert in 3 different fields.
Okay.
And I know as a part of his testimony that he had a colleague who's an expert in children radiology to look at everything.
Okay. Do you recall the name of that expert?
It was a female out of South Carolina, I believe.
Okay. Okay. What do you know about Finnegan?
I know that Finnegan's prescribed when you're nauseous. At least that's been the story in my life. He did mention in his testimony that due to her being vented, that she did have some pneumonia from the vent. It had a fancy word, and I can't remember what it was.
Did you have the opportunity to review a medical report from Dr. Keenan Bora, who's a medical toxicologist?
I don't recognize that name.
No.
They were all the things that are being continued to be. I'm sorry, I got tongue tied. The pneumonia, the Finnegan, the natural cause of death, all that has been previously litigated in pursuant to Article 11.
Okay. But didn't present itself in the trial transcript itself?
I do not recall. I would have to refer back to the original trial transcript. I apologize. I would have to have both of them in front of me to make that analysis, and I do not.
Okay.
Again, I apologize. Without having them in front of me, I'd be unable to make that determination.
Okay. I know there's been some discussion about some medical images of Nikki that were rediscovered in 2018 that had essentially been sitting in a box for 15 years. Does that sound accurate to you?
Yes, we were actually getting ready to start the first hearing, and the district clerk said, "Wait, I think I know where those are." And she literally went and got them, and we were all very surprised.
Okay.
I'm trying to recall. I would have to go back and look at the transcript again.
Okay.
I'd have to really refer back to the record. I do not remember reading that or seeing that in any of the prior hearings or original jury trial. I'd have to refer back to see. Yes, I don't know her condition before she got to Children's, but I do know that she was placed on life support at some point. I do not know. I'd have to refer back to the records. I apologize.
Do you know who?
I do not know the answer to that question. I'd have to refer back to the transcripts.
Do you know?
I do not know that. I'd have to refer to the transcripts.
When you requested the you moved for the execution date to be set. When was that? Remind me of that date.
I'm not 100% sure without checking back, but it was sometime this year. I'd have to refer back to see exactly what he said about them.
I wish we had more time. I would really love the state's explanation for how this evidence, this medical evidence, was somehow missing and disappeared for 15 years, locked in the basement of your courthouse. I would love.
I would have to refer back to the trial transcript to see if the fact.
You don't know.
I would have to check the original transcript to accurately testify.
Has any jury heard any arguments or
I would have
evidence?
to check the original trial transcript that was in front of a jury. I believe that her presenting with sleep apnea would appear different, but I would have to go back and look at the evidence that was presented at trial.
It was not sleep apnea, breathing apnea.
I apologize. I misspoke.
That's a significant difference. Okay, I'll wrap up. You set the execution date. You don't know when. Do you know why?
Because that was the next step in the course of the law.
Were you satisfied that a murder had been committed?
Yes.
What was that based on?
The totality of the evidence at the original trial, post writs that have been filed, and hearings that have been held.
Just to be clear, you're referencing evidence that no less than 30 times in this hearing you have said that you have no knowledge of at the moment. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, sir. What was the question?
I'll move on.
To fully give an appropriate answer, I would have to go back and look.
As I mentioned, it's incredibly frustrating to listen to. And people like this are why our system is broken. And they are embedded within. It's going to take all of us standing together to fight for real change. We're grateful that Robert's execution has been temporarily stayed, and we hope justice will prevail so Robert can finally go home to his family. Stay tuned for updates from Failing Justice and failingjustice.org. You can also find us on social media, the @ failing one justice, just as it's written below.
It's not just an organization, it's a call to action. Join us on this journey, satisfaction. Dismantle barriers, build with passion. For a future where justice is not a fraction.